campers' worship service. And that was 45 years ago. And a lot of campers went to worship services. We would have a full amphitheater at times. There were 6 or 7 other guys that helped me on a Sunday morning. And we just had a blast. We would go out there and oftentimes in camp for the weekend just so we could be there. It was good times. Well, camping worship services have always been part of Benny's in my life. Because we always camped, and if we went camping, we would go to the campers' worship service if they had one, whether it was a public campground or private. Some of them have been memorable. One was we went, and Benny and I were the only two there. Now the gentleman who was leading the service was there, and we said, "Oh, you don't have to do this." Oh, he said, "Yeah, we're here. We're going to have the service." So we sang and he preached. It was just, I know we're always saying where 2 or 3 are gathered together, but it still felt kind of strange to be the only 2 in the worship service. Another one is I genuinely remember one of the sermons. No, not all the details of it. It was a lay person who was leading the service, and his sermon was really a telling of his faith journey, how he got to where he was. He talked to us about his conversion experience, about how he felt, as Bill was sharing earlier, how he felt God touching his life on a particular day, at a particular time, in a particular place. He told us then about a day that he believed that God saved his life. Told us he was a construction worker. He operated a boom where they ran concrete through. And this one day, in the place where they were working, there were high tension wires, which in his sermon he said he never noticed. He said, so I operated that boom all day without noticing those wires and never touched them once. He really felt that God protected him that day. And then he told us about the death of his father and how his father showed particular strength during that time of dying. And all of those things, this man said, helped form who he was, brought him to the place that he was in his faith experience. Well, I want to tell you today some things that have become important to me through my faith journey. I want to tell you that when I talk to you about a servant heart, why I consider that to be so important. I want you to know that it is in part because I believe so strongly in the sovereignty of God. The first of the 10 commandments says, you shall have no other gods before me. The sovereignty of God. As we read the scriptures, we see over and over those people who were committed to God having that place in their lives. You know the story, I'm sure. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace, the blazing furnace. King Nebuchadnezzar had built this large gold statue, some 90 feet high, in order when the music sounded, you were to bow down and worship it. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were not willing. Nebuchadnezzar called them before him and said, look, you know my decree. If you don't worship that statue, when the music sounds, you're going to the fiery furnace. You remember their reply? I love it. This is what they said back to Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But that's not all they said. Then they said, but even if he doesn't, We want you to know, O King, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of God you have set up. Their faith in God, their faith in the sovereignty of God was not just based on the idea that he would protect them. They were putting God in the place God wants to be. They remembered the sovereignty of God. And if you and I are going to have servant hearts, that's the place that God has to have in our lives. To have a servant heart, you must remember the sacredness of people. That's easy to say. It's harder to do. To really do. Because there are always going to be people that you don't understand. You don't understand their actions. You don't understand why they do what they do. And to believe that you need to love them is difficult. And yet we proclaim that God loves each and every human being with an infinite and equal love. A man named Kirby Page once wrote, "In God's sight, a person is the most precious of all values. This truth possessed Jesus and never let him go. He illustrated it with the stories of the lost sheep, the lost coin, the lost son. Every individual everywhere is inherently worthwhile to the Father. Every child everywhere, of every race, of every condition. Yes, Jesus knew men to be frail, sinful, easily corrupted, sometimes monstrously depraved, capable of cruel and atrocious behavior, but always, always children of God, and even when prodigals, indispensable to the loving heart of the Father." You see, what we proclaim in this land where we talk about the equality of people, what we believe as Christians is that every person is equal in the sight of God. Doesn't mean we're equal in one another's sight. Some of us have an IQ of 80. Some of us have an IQ, I don't know whether you're you, but somebody might have an IQ of 180. That's not equal. But in God's sight, they are equal. Some of you have wonderful music talent. Some of you can't carry a tune in a bucket, as they say. That's not equal. But in God's sight, it is. I have undoubtedly mentioned to you Boyd Powell. He was a man in my first appointment, and their layout of their sanctuary was just like this. 3 different sections, 2 aisles. Boyd sat right here, 3rd pew. Boyd couldn't sing worth a lick, but he sang loud nonetheless. His favorite hymn was "Make Me a Blessing." Out in the highways and byways of life, many are weary and sad. Carry the sunshine where darkness is rife, making the sorrow and glad. Make me a blessing, make me a blessing. Out of my light may Jesus shine. Make me a blessing, oh dear Lord, I pray. Make me a blessing to someone today. And when Boyd sat in that 3rd pew and he bubbled out that song, to someone with musical ears, it probably didn't sound so good. But I believe that all that's within me, to God's ears, it was beautiful. Not equal, because he didn't have great musical ability, but equal in the sight of God. And you can go on and on about ways that we're not really equal, but in God's sight, we are. Equal in the sight of God. That gives every human being a dignity we should not forget. And I've got to be honest, sometimes it's hard for me to remember that. When people do some of the things that they do, the actions I don't understand, and yet God's with them. They are, in his sight, equal to us. The third thing in having a servant heart is that we have to remember that we are responsible in this life. We are responsible in the caring of all life. We haven't always done that well. Sometimes we have to learn about it. I grew up in the open mine region of Pennsylvania. I mean, there are deep mines where you dig a tunnel into the ground, and there are strip mines where you take the cover off the coal and then take the coal out. Well, back when I was a kid, when they did that, they took the cover off the coal, took the coal out, and then they left. And so where I grew up, in a lot of places, there were these big holes in the ground where the mining companies had taken the coal, but then left not through anymore. It took us a while to learn that we needed to reclaim the land and plant trees on it and put it back. Didn't always do that. Sometimes we're slow to learn that we are responsible for this land. You know, my favorite disciple was Andrew. We don't know much about him. We know that Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they only mention Andrew in the list of the disciples. They don't tell us anything about him. He's mentioned 3 times, though, in the Gospel of John. The most memorable to me is when he discovered Jesus. He was he and another disciples were standing with John. They were obviously disciples, followers of John the Baptist. But John, in seeing Jesus walking by, said, "Behold, the Lamb of God." And Andrew and that other disciples went to Jesus and asked him where he was staying. And he said, "Come and see." And so they went and spent time with Jesus. And Andrew discovered that this was the Messiah. You know the first thing that Andrew did? That's exactly how the Bible says it. The first thing Andrew did was to go and get his brother Peter, Simon at that time. And why that's so amazing to me is that Andrew had to know what kind of guy Simon, to become Peter, was. Surely Andrew knew that Simon was going to come in and take over the group. And he did. Peter becomes one of the inner circle, Peter, James, and John. They got to experience some things that none of the other disciples got to experience. And yet still, Andrew first went to Simon to bring him to Jesus. I often call Andrew the backseat disciple. Did he know Peter was going to take over? Probably, because he was his brother. Every group they were ever in, Peter took it over. He had that leadership ability. But still, Andrew told him. Did Andrew ever get upset with that? I don't know. Was Andrew upset that he wasn't one of the inner circle? Was Andrew upset that he wasn't on the Mount of Transfiguration that his brother Peter was? I don't know. I don't think so. Andrew, to me, was quiet. I guess that's why I like him, because that's me. I may have told you, but my mother and dad were vastly different. Dad could talk to anybody, anytime, about anything. Mother was far, far quieter. I said we were a camping family when I was a kid. That was back when camping was different. People were either in tents or they were in campers that they built. None of these bought Winnebagos. My dad made our family 2 different campers. One was a tent camper that he built. He sewed the campus together. Everything he built out of the old axle that he had around the house. And he built the box and he made the tent, and we camped in that for a number of years. And then he bought an old bread truck and made that into a camper. Well, what Dad enjoyed when we got to a campsite and was setting ours up, he was off to the next campsite to see what they had built, what theirs was like. And Mother, would sit on our campsite and fume. And I can still remember their conversations. His name was Ken, her name was Belva. And Dad would say to her, Belva, I don't understand why you can't talk to people. And he would say, Ken, I don't understand how you do. Well, they were vastly different. I take after Mom. So conversation, quietness is a part of who I am. Probably why I like Andrew so much. But he was willing to take the back seat, but still offering Christ in every way that he could. He was mentioned in bringing the Greeks, and he's mentioned in the feeding of the 5,000, because it was Andrew who brought the little boy with the loaves and the fish. I like Andrew, his willingness to be the backseat disciple. I think that we who need to have servant hearts need to be like him. We need to know that God is the sovereign one in our lives. You shall have no other gods before me. We need to know, we need to work in knowing that every human being is sacred in God's eyes. And we need to know that we are responsible for this world that he has given us. That's why in this whole coronavirus thing, we do whatever we can to make sure that it doesn't spread any more than it has to. We are careful. We will worship, but we will worship in different ways than maybe we're accustomed to, because we are responsible for this world. You need to have a servant heart. Pray with me. Lord God, may that be true for us. Servant heart. May we study it, strive to have it. May we be like Andrew, willing to be in the background if necessary, but always willing to offer you to everyone whose lives come in contact with ours.